What up, Claytriots? It's your boy, Technically Clay, streaming at you from sunny, lovely, 70 degrees, perfect weather, St. Louis, Missouri. It is absolutely amazing out there. I hope that wherever you are, that it is also, some good weather, some good vibes. Maybe you can get outside, touch some grass. I highly recommend it if you can, because we have a beautiful world, and outside of the world of computer screens, it's a good day to go outside, at least where I am. So since the last time you saw me, let's see, I didn't do a whole lot yesterday, more Slay the Spire and Stargate. Let's see, today I had an oil change, so I got up, I worked, I had an oil change over lunch, so I didn't work out, or I had to drop off my car, and then got that taken care of. They also, they got me on, I needed to get my brakes replaced as well. So, what can you do? It was in the red zone or whatever. Usually I think they try to preemptively get you a lot. Like I'm very skeptical when a mechanic tells me oh, this thing needs to be done right now or whatever. So I will always at least wait, in terms of the colors that they usually associate it with, I'll always wait until it's in the red zone, because usually even when it's in the yellow zone, I feel like it lasts another year or two before it actually needs something. So and especially since I don't drive that much, trying to save as much money as possible. And then let's see, other than that, not really much. Pretty uneventful day at work. And then when my wife dropped me off to pick up the car, I just picked up some Dairy Queen on the way home, because I wasn't going to cook. If I had to cook after I got home, then I probably wouldn't have even been able to start streaming until 5:30 or something. So, I was like, we're just going to eat like trash, have some chicken strips. I had the classic chicken strip basket from DQ, which I haven't had it in a while. It was surprisingly good. That gravy or whatever as a dipping sauce is peak, man. It's like a smother, it tastes like a country fried chicken or something. I don't know. I was surprised. I had forgotten how good that was. So and then I came right here to be with you, the viewer. Hello. Today we're doing normal stuff. It's just a normal day. We're going to talk about the news. I figured I would go ahead and just start with going over to CNN. So we're just going to try and catch up with the latest from Trump's Beijing summit. I think that's probably the top line news number or whatever to go over. So we're going to talk about I've heard there have been some talks, like this particular one it says China issues a stark new warning to Trump on Taiwan. I've heard, a bunch of random anecdotes about what they might be what kind of trade deals might come about or whatever. But honestly, I haven't heard anything that concrete. So I'm wondering, hopefully this will give us some more concrete information. And if not, at least it'll fill us in on the latest discussions. But I know in particular, the Taiwan stuff is pretty, it has been getting a lot of people, are talking about that. So I can give you my perspective on that, because newsflash, my opinion probably differs a lot from most of mainstream media or whatever when it comes to Taiwan. But anyway, let's go ahead and watch it.
President Trump and China's President Xi are attending a state banquet in Beijing after the first day of their bilateral talks. Now, a White House official described it as a good meeting and said the two discussed Iran, trade, and energy. But beyond the pomp and circumstance, tensions are growing over Taiwan. Chinese state media reporting that Xi warned Trump that Taiwan, the democratic self-governing island that Beijing views as part of its territory, is, quote, the most important issue.
Well, and also America does as well. According to America's law, or America's understanding, is that Taiwan is a part of Chinese territory. And that's also the understanding of the international law. Anybody who claims that Taiwan isn't a part of China, like isn't a Chinese territory, is like living on a fantasy world. That's like saying Puerto Rico isn't an American territory. Like it is a Chinese territory under every aspect of, every aspect of law, international law, whatever. It is, however, a autonomous country that does, or not country, I guess, but an autonomous territory that does not, it is not controlled by the CCP. Like they have their own form of government on Taiwan. And so that's like the primary difference. But it is under like like according to the international law and according to America, Taiwan is a Chinese territory.
In China-U.S. relations and could create a very dangerous situation if mishandled. Some observers viewing that as a threat. CNN's Will Ripley is live this morning in Taipei, Taiwan. It seems like this island, with China has threatened to take by force, is really emerging for China as a key issue here of the summit. Meanwhile, it's sort of the tale of two straits. Meanwhile, you've got the strait.
Has China threatened to take it by force? I don't know if I've heard that. I mean, I think they've said that they would, or that they could if they had to. But as far as I know, China is very firmly in the camp of like, we want a peaceful reunification with Taiwan. So that's not by force, though. That is like, ideally they want to just negotiate something where Taiwan becomes a part of China, or like officially a part of China, and but can have its own form of governance. This would be similar, I think, to, is it Hong Kong, I think, in China, where it's essentially a capitalist enclave inside of like a capitalist run territory inside of China. And I would guess that Taiwan would be no different if they, peacefully, if they peacefully, reunified. That's the word I was looking for.
Strait of Hormuz also lingering there, with the president wanting China to help get that open.
Yeah, it's interesting, Sarah, because the officials here in Taipei were sort of expecting this kind of language from Xi Jinping. It didn't come as a surprise that it was the first thing that Chinese state media reported, this comment basically saying that if the U.S. and China mishandled the issue of Taiwan, it could lead to a military conflict. We've heard that sort of thing from Beijing repeatedly over the years. It is noteworthy.
Yeah, don't get into another military misadventure, Mr. Trump. You saw what happened when you tried to go up against Iran, which is like has 1/1000th of the capabilities that China has. Like, don't get twisted, dude. You don't want to fuck around with this shit.
But not surprising that was the first line of information that they chose to leak to the Xinhua news agency. I want to read you a little bit more of the quote that was reported by Chinese state media from Xi Jinping. He said, quote, "Taiwan independence and cross-strait peace are as irreconcilable as fire and water. Safeguarding peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait is the biggest common denominator between China and the U.S." And because they were expecting that kind of language here in Taipei, there was a response very quickly from the Taiwan cabinet spokesperson, Michelle Lee. I'll read you that as well, Sarah. It said, "China's military threat is the sole source of insecurity in the Taiwan Strait and the broader Indo-Pacific region. Continuous enhancement of defense and effective..."
No, it's not. I mean, look, my opinion is that the best course of action would be for Taiwan to peacefully reunify with China. I know that, like, I think polling wise, that's not the most popular position in Taiwan. I think that the majority, let me polling Taiwan peaceful reunification. Let's see if they have any images. 1 second. Here, maybe this will help. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Open image and new tab. There we go. Okay. So here's some polling. This is, I thought this was going to be annually. Never mind. Well, this is what it says. 48.9 says independence. 30 or like 26.9 status quo and 11.8 is independence. But I wanted one over time. This is so hard to read, dude. Ah, man, these are all in like Mandarin or whatever. Taiwanese, is that, do they have their own language? I'm not really sure. Man, I hate Google Images, dude. How do I... There we go. That's what I usually do. Oh my gosh, this is unreadable. Man, dude, why do they make this so hard? Okay, whatever. Let's just assume that this number is correct. So 48.9% support complete independence, 26.9 support the status quo, which is the current situation that they have there, and 12% support unification. So as you can see, like peaceful reunification, or I think it might depend how you phrase it to them as well, whether you say like unification through military means or through, you know, peaceful negotiations. But yeah, it's clearly the minority opinion, though. So my opinion is different than the majority of the Taiwanese. But my recommendation to Taiwan is to look, if you want to know what your future is, if you decide to be America's proxy against China, I would say look to Ukraine. That is what it's going to look like. You're going to, you know, be in a you're going to be in a state of war indefinitely, as America continuously forces you to be like in war forever, despite what your people want. Like, and you might think like at first that this is what you want, that you want to go to war for your independence or whatever. But like, I assure you, America does not give a shit about you. They don't even necessarily even give a shit about your independence. They care much more about you as a destabilizing bulwark against China. And so I don't think it's in your best interest personally to try to take sides with America. The other thing that I would point out to my Taiwanese brothers and sisters out there is that look at what happened to a lot of our allies in the Middle East in this war with Iran. Okay. Iran, like, you know, hit them really fucking hard. And America was unable to protect any of them. And also America wasn't even able to protect Israel, which Israel is like the one true ally of America, like the one that you like, that they will spend everything that they have just to protect. They will even sacrifice their own population for the state of Israel, like America will. And they weren't even able to protect Israel. So my recommendation to you is to think long and hard before you choose to be a good little proxy for America, decimate your population, decimate your economy, just to protect yourself from big bad China. I think what's in your best interest is to do a peaceful reunification. You can still be a capitalist like territory if you want. Like I said, Hong Kong exists as a model. Like you can do that. That's my personal opinion, though. I mean, I know that might frustrate some people. That might even frustrate some Taiwanese people. But I think that's the better option for you. So anyway, let's keep going now. That was a little bit of a side mission, I guess.
Effective joint deterrence are the most critical factors to ensuring regional security. The reason why they talked about enhancement of defense is because one big concern they have here in Taipei is that behind closed doors, Xi Jinping could ask President Trump to either delay or stall or flat out deny a $14 billion arms sales package that Taiwan's parliament has approved, but it has yet to be approved by President Trump in Washington. It's still in limbo. That would be a major setback for Taiwan if President Trump didn't approve that package quickly, because it would basically indicate that he's willing to negotiate Taiwan's security in exchange for some sort of grand bargain. That was, of course, the...
Well, but I think that the more important thing, though, is that America is not capable of protecting Taiwan. Like, whether we sell them all of these arms or not. By the way, okay, where are we getting these arms from? Are they going to magically appear out of nowhere? Like, we went through 50% of our missiles in 6 weeks of war with Iran. If we go back into any other hot war, all of our missile production capability is going to that for the foreseeable future. Just trying to build up our stockpiles again from that 6-week war against a middle power. Like, so I don't know where they expect all of these like missiles and defense systems to come from. Our production capability in America is trash. We're not able to produce anything. So like there's that one, that's just a physical reality that they have to contend with. But also, like, they should be more concerned about America not even being capable of protecting them. Like look at how America fared against Iran. China is 1,000 times stronger, 1,000 times more productive. And when it comes to war, the only thing that matters is how much you are able to produce. What are your productive capabilities? And China has that, like, by the thousands, like I don't, or like way more than we do. So like I think that's the more concerning part. They shouldn't. I don't know. I'm surprised that they haven't even been really discussing this since the Iran war started. Maybe there's back channel discussions and they're just not willing to openly say it. But yeah, I'm not sure.
The big concern that Taiwanese officials expressed in the days and weeks leading up to this meeting. We heard from the Taiwan foreign minister, who said that he hoped the summit would bring no surprises. The deputy foreign minister said he was afraid that Taiwan could be on the menu. So even though they knew here in Taipei that Xi was going to press this claim that Beijing has had for 75 years that Taiwan belongs to China, even though Taiwan has had its own government and its own military the entire time, and also, by the way, happens to have the production of all of the.
By the way, I don't think China would even care if Taiwan was independent if America didn't use it as a proxy against them, you know, for force projection and as a military base to be able to launch attacks against China. If America just left Taiwan the fuck alone, then I think China would be relatively okay with China being independent, in the same way that they're like relatively okay with Japan and South Korea being independent. Like, even though those countries also have American military bases and stuff on them, China isn't expecting a military, like an American style proxy war from those countries. They're expecting it from Taiwan because that's what Taiwan was set up to be. So yeah, if America just like abandoned that like goal of destabilizing China through Taiwan, then there would be a lot better chance for them to attain like full independence. But I don't think that that's going to happen.
Nearly all of the world's most advanced chips that are crucial to the United States' deep investment in AI. Without Taiwan, the entire tech economy would essentially collapse if the supply chain were disrupted. So Taiwan knows that they have that leverage. They're hoping that President Trump keeps that in mind when he's in talks with Xi Jinping and doesn't send the message that Taiwan's security is up for negotiation.
While President Trump praised President Xi, the Chinese president warned President Trump today that the U.S. and China could clash over.
The best thing that could happen due to America's military misadventures in Iran is that America is so defeated and so like its force projection is weakened so incredibly that there is not a even hint of understanding that America would have any capability of defeating China whatsoever, which, I mean, it's obvious to me as someone who, you know, analyzes this stuff from a like anti-imperialist perspective. And I can see, you know, I can look at our how much we failed in Iran and understand how much more difficult it would be to go against China, to just know that it is impossible at this point. America can't do anything about China at all. There's nothing that America can do. It's already done. America is a dying hegemon and China is an ascending hegemon. And so it's like, so I understand that there's nothing that can be done, but a lot of these people in the media, like they still kind of like to pretend like America would even have a chance against China, you know, which is really silly at this point. I feel like we should be way past this, but I don't know. They like to take their time. They really like taking their time with catching up, to my opinions.
Over Taiwan if the issue wasn't handled properly. Are both leaders further apart on the issues that Trump would like to acknowledge?
Certainly on that one, Wolf, there's no question, at least historically on the U.S. posture, we have not heard President Trump say much about what he thinks of what could happen with China and Taiwan and the U.S.'s role going forward. And so it's interesting that President Xi, made this quite clear at the outset, the prospect of a clash of China taking over Taiwan or attempting to take over Taiwan, and then what does the U.S. do? And it has all kinds of implications in terms of semiconductors, in terms of chips manufacturing and so forth, that we don't quite know what this looks like in a Trump 2.0. I will be interested to see if President Trump discusses much of what he actually thinks on that front publicly. As much as President Trump often seems unable to help himself from blurting certain things out, there are areas where he tends to keep his own views a little more closely held, and I suspect this is going to be one of them, but we'll see.
With us now is Congressman Mark Alford, a Republican from Missouri. Congressman, always great to see you. Let me read you part of that statement from China again.
Hey, I'm from Missouri.
Quote, if it is not handled properly, and he's talking about the Taiwan issue here, if it is not handled properly, the two countries may clash or even come into conflict, pushing the entire China-U.S. relationship into a very dangerous situation. So some see that as a warning or a threat from President.
The other thing, besides just the fact that America would be America would be incapable of defeating China just militarily, is that China is the manufacturing hub of the entire world. Like, if you thought that stuff is grinding to a halt from the Strait of Hormuz, which is 20% of the world's energy being removed from circulation, which we're only just now starting to see some of those consequences, but in the future, if this goes on, it'll be $8-9 a gallon oil or gas. It'll be food prices up 50-60% after a year or whatever. You're going to see the ramifications from the Strait of Hormuz situation in the future. Even Americans will, a lot of other countries already are. But if you thought that was something, wait until you remove 100% of the world's production capabilities. China produces everything for the world, every single thing that you need, every single little part that goes into building everything that you want, all of your technology, all of your computer parts, all of your this webcam that I have here, these two monitors I got here, that TV back there, that little display case. I'm sure a lot of those pieces of glass and stuff were manufactured over there. China produces everything. Imagine going to war with China and they just shut off production for the world. It would be a catastrophe. It would be a global collapse, the likes of which the world has probably never seen. So I don't know who we're kidding here. It's a done deal. It's over. America is gone. Bye-bye America. Enjoy your century of humiliation. It's time for Xi Jinping here to country mog everybody with ascending China's global century of prosperity or whatever. That's just how it is. But I'll keep watching. I'm sure that my Missouri congressman is going to have really smart things to say. We'll see.
You care deeply about Taiwan. You have been there, traveling there in the last couple of years. What do you think the clear U.S. statement
he cares about America and empire? He doesn't care about Taiwan.
On Taiwan should be?
Well, John, thanks for having me on. Look, we have had since 1979 the Taiwan Relations Act from Congress, a policy of strategic ambiguity. We're not saying they're an independent nation, but we're not saying they're part of China.
But according to American policy, it is a part of China. I know that we have this strategic ambiguity thing or whatever, but I think according to American law and according to international law, it is a part of China. Whatever. Sure, dude. Sure.
Either. We don't have an embassy there. We have an American Institute of Taiwan. I've been there. It's a very beautiful facility. But Taiwan is important to us. It's important for their chip manufacturing, for drone capabilities. Our partnership with Taiwan is important, but also our partnership, burgeoning partnership, it looks like, between Trump and Xi in this new era that Xi has described is also important. We've got to make sure that trade.
That's new right there. Describing our relationship with China as a partnership is new from these types of ghouls. They usually do not say those words. They usually posture as if China is an enemy, like the biggest, bad, worst enemy of the world, right? So this shift right here is like a new thing. And I think to some extent it is, well, because Trump, number one, is like, trying to portray this as a partnership, like in his meetings, I guess. So like, that's a signal to the Republican Party of like what their messaging should be, as this guy is a Republican or whatever. But also I think it's a signal that even these people somewhat know that it's Jover. Like there's no way to defeat China. And we're never going to find a way to defeat China. The only possible way would be if we actually turned our country into a state capitalist country instead of a pure, market capitalist country. So the same sort of model that China has. And we're never going to do that, because then our pedo billionaires couldn't take billions upon billions of dollars. All of their profits, would be substantially lessened if we ended up doing that.
Continues. We've got to make sure that we are able to export our Missouri soybeans and pork to China. And Taiwan also, of course, is buying some of those as well. It is a delicate tap dance at this point. But look, in the appropriations process, excuse me, in the appropriations process, just 2 weeks ago, under the full committee for appropriations, we appropriated $500 million for Taiwan in foreign military financing. That is up from $300 million just 1 year ago. So I think we're sending a signal to Taiwan that we value them, but we also value President Trump's initiative to better relations with China.
Would you want those better relations to come at the expense of any reduced arms sales to Taiwan?
No. Taiwan needs to be ready for what could happen. And under our strategic ambiguity, the 1979 Taiwan Relations Act, we have committed to not necessarily aid in their self-defense, but give them what they need to defend against any.
What's the difference, dude? This is all rhetorical trickery. I think I'm done with this segment. I've talked a lot about it. Like I said, Taiwan, I know that it might not be the most popular opinion in your country, but trust me, like if you want to see what it looks like, look to Ukraine of being a proxy of America. It's not pretty. They've gone through, they've essentially lost entire generations of men in their war against Russia, in our war against Russia through Ukraine. So, and China is, much, much stronger than Russia is. So, and you don't have a shot. Like Taiwan, I'm just going to be frank with you, Taiwan. You don't have a shot. There, even with full and total American support, you do not have a shot. So I don't know. I would start even if you don't want to think about it, I would start thinking about it. What you would want in terms of a peaceful reunification with China, and a peaceful reunification would always be much better. Even from the Chinese people, the leadership has said this, they want a peaceful reunification. And so I think that would be a lot better for you, and a lot better for the world, and a lot better for China, and a lot better for us as Americans, in terms of our, tax dollars and funding foreign proxy wars or whatever. If that was the direction you at least consider. Okay, I'm going to now move on to this is a short video.
Thank you,
So this one's from Fox News. So we're just going to catch up briefly with Iran. As far as I know, because all of our leadership is off. All of our leadership and our pedo billionaires all went over to China for this meeting with Xi Jinping. So I think that most of them are a little too busy to be focused on Iran right now. I also saw Keg's Breath was over there too. So I guess while that's going on, Iran seized another ship off of the coast of the UAE. My understanding also is that the UAE has been getting more directly involved lately in terms of actively attacking Iran and stuff. So let's go ahead and watch this video. We'll see if we can get any new updates about it.
Thank you, Harris. See in a few moments. Meanwhile, we've got this, a new provocation. Iran said to be seizing a ship off the coast of the UAE. This is happening as talks over the conflict in the Strait of Hormuz weigh heavily here on the summit in Beijing. Trey Yingst is live on the story. He's in Tel Aviv. Trey, hello.
Trey.
Yeah, hey, Bill, good evening to you. Reports do indicate Iran has seized another vessel off the coast of the UAE. According to a maritime tracking group, that ship is now headed to Iranian waters. All of this comes after the Iranians accused the UAE of being directly involved in attacks against their country, and a diplomatic spat overnight that included the Israelis announcing that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made a secret visit to the UAE during the war, only to
see that was interesting as well. I don't know. I mean, I think that he probably did. I think he's denying it. But the UAE is essentially just becoming like a little like American proxy state, just like Israel. It'll never be the same as Israel, mainly because it would take decades upon decades. And also it's not like the same as the settler colonial aspect of Israel gives them a special place in America's heart because it reminds America like this. I'm talking about America broadly as a nation state. It reminds them of their past or whatever, of how they took over and displaced and killed the natives of their country. So Israel is like, you know, there's a bond between American and Israel that is unique, I think. But still, UAE is like doing its best to align with the Zionist forces in Israel and with America. Really trying. I don't know what their plan is, man. Iran is like the like, what are you going to do against Iran? Like Iran, like there's like Iran can hit you like indefinitely forever. I feel like this is a bad, like Iran is essentially the regional hegemon at this point, like the superpower of the region. And so I just don't know why the UAE would really keep trying to align with America and Israel, especially after America was unwilling to even, or not unwilling, unable to even protect its military bases on the UAE soil. Seems like a bad move to me.
To see the Emiratis deny it later. Secretary of State Marco.
Oh, and the reason that the UAE denies this, by the way, is because the people of the UAE hate Israel. At least most of them do. The political leadership in a lot of these Gulf state countries are very disconnected from their people when it comes to their actions in regard to the state of Israel, because most of them align with the state of Israel against Iran. However, most of the people do not want them to do that. So that's probably why the UAE is denying it.
Rubio told Fox's Sean Hannity the Chinese should play a more active role in getting Iran to change course in the Persian Gulf.
Well, if all the countries of the world economies are melting down because of this crisis in the Straits, they're going to be buying less Chinese product, and the Chinese exports are going to drop precipitously. So it's in their interest to resolve this. We hope to convince them to play a more active role in getting Iran to walk away from what they're doing.
AKA they're admitting that they have no leverage and are unable to get Iran to do what they want them to do. That's pathetic from an American empire perspective. You're supposed to be the global superpower according to the rules like that you set up. Or like the propaganda that we've been told. America is supposed to be able to influence any country it wants to do whatever it wants in any way. And this is just a straight up admission that we are unable to do that. So, you know, this is a big oof for American force projection.
We're doing now and trying to do now in the Persian Gulf.
As for the possibility of a negotiated settlement, Vice President J.D. Vance indicated there's been some progress in recent weeks. The question remains if it's enough progress to avoid the war resuming.
I want to be able to look the American people in the eye and say with confidence that you are not going to have to worry about this very, very dangerous regime having access to the most dangerous weapons in the world. That's the goal that we're focused on.
Dude.
Again, there's a lot of ways to accomplish that goal.
Nobody cares, man.
The president has set us off.
I'm not worried about Iran getting a nuke. You want to know why? Because I know they don't have hyperballistic or whatever it's called, intercontinental ballistic missiles that can hit us. Like, that's not a thing that they have for a nuclear weapon. So I'm not concerned about that at all. Listen to me. I am an American citizen. I'm the person that you're talking about, and I don't give a shit.
On the diplomatic pathway for now, and that's what I'm focused on.
Iran's foreign minister spoke today saying his country is prepared for both diplomacy and war. Bill?
Wow. Okay, Trey, good to have you on the scene there in Tel Aviv. Trey Yanks, thanks.
Okay, well, whoops.
Meeting faced it.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to click that one. Yeah, that was I wanted them to talk a little bit more about the actual ship. Sometimes they trick me with these clips where they say it's about something and then they talk about, 5 different things. So, but anyway, Iran is probably just taking, I think, the opportunity of America being distracted over, doing its summit in Beijing. That they're just probably taking advantage of that to, do some escalations, do some provocations, and not have any response from America. If I had to guess what they were doing here, just as a kind of like show of force, show that they still have, leverage and they're still able to act on whatever actions they see fit. That's probably what's going on. So, okay, let's go ahead and move on. Okay, guys. Okay. Who is ready to go back to 2020? Because I got news for you people. A certain segment of our population never left 2020. Some of them still think it's 2020 right now. And they're out there protesting and crying about Dr. Fauci. Now, for a lot of you, you might be saying, who's Dr. Fauci? Was he that one dude from 4 or 5 years, like during COVID or something? Was that who that was? And to you people, I say it. I applaud you because you are a normal person. Congratulations. You are not a hyper obsessed conservative weirdo who can't let go of the past. Because a lot of people are still freaking the fuck out about mask mandates and being forced to get the shot for COVID, and they just won't let it the fuck go because they're all a bunch of babies who just are looking for things to cry about. So let's go ahead and watch this, and let's all just make fun of them. That's mainly the goal of this segment.
John Kiriakou is a former CIA officer and whistleblower. Does this jive with how things are done at the agency? Someone just makes a phone call and everything changes?
Unfortunately, yes. We see this kind of thing all the time. And Jesse, at the heart of this story is that it's always best to tell the truth. The truth always comes out. And I want to comment on the whistleblower, too. This was a very brave thing he did. He put his reputation on the line today. He told the world exactly what the truth was. He'll probably never work in government again because of it. But now we have an idea of what was being done secretly, yet in our name.
And Fauci got pardoned. So
Yes,
he may
did.
have killed 1 million Americans. We don't know if the exact virus was Frankensteined out that he paid for, but still, I mean, and then he just walks away like nothing happened?
My cousin George Koletsu was the second person in the state of Ohio to die of COVID back in very early 2020. That death still stings all of us in our family. And now I can't help but to look at Dr. Fauci and think, you liar. Look what you've done to our country. And you're right. He was auto-penned right into freedom.
How long have I been muted? I hope I wasn't muted for too long. But I don't understand this. I literally do not get this. Like, what difference does it make? Like, in terms of what if it is about the COVID-19 origins or whatever, what difference does it make in terms of your cousin or whatever the fuck, like whoever the fuck died, or like they would have died regardless, whether it came from a lab leak or whether it came from the wet market. I literally do not understand this argument that they're making.
And wealth and untold riches in his retirements, that is unacceptable.
He was protected, and so was China, which makes it even worse. And this just in, John, the CIA just raided Tulsi Gabbard's office. Agents hauled out dozens of boxes, files on the JFK assassination and MK Ultra, the CIA mind control operation, which she was in the process of declassifying. Today's whistleblower said it during his deposition, and Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna confirmed it moments ago.
The reason why this is troubling is, A, there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MK Ultra files. The CIA famously has said that, you know, all documents were released.
I'm so lost now. I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what's going on. The CIA raided Tulsi Gabbard's office and like seized a bunch of documents that she was supposed to release to the public. Like, what was she like hiding them or something? Is that what they're trying to say? This is the most confusing segment I think I've watched from Fox News in a long time.
Released, and other documents had been destroyed. So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed.
Can the CIA over?
Okay, so I'm trying to follow here. So Tulsi Gabbard stole a bunch of documents that were supposed to be released and kept them from being released by hoarding them at her house or something, I guess. Okay, cool. What does this mean? Your guess is as good as mine.
Overrule the president?
No, the CIA cannot overrule the president. The CIA cannot even overrule the director of national intelligence.
Well, nah, there's one way the CIA can overrule the president. Well, one might say that the butler, that dude from Butler, might have been the one in charge of overruling the president, if you know what I'm talking about. There is one way historically that the CIA has overruled the president. I'm just putting that out there.
In 1975, the Church Committee, which became the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, specifically ordered DCI William Colby to release all of the MK Ultra files. He famously went back to CIA headquarters and ordered that all of the files be destroyed. 85% of them were destroyed. He was held in contempt of Congress, and then CIA employees lined the halls and contributed cash to pay for the fine that he was ordered to pay. We only know what we know about MK Ultra because of the 15% of the files that weren't destroyed. These are among those 15% of the files. They are mandated.
Dude, you know why I know? they don't give a shit about this stuff. Okay. Let me just be frank with you guys. I hate the CIA. The CIA, like the primary goal of the CIA is destabilizing brown countries in Latin America. Like that is their primary goal. And also like in the Middle East as well. But primarily their primary targets have been South America. And also the CIA, you know, has a heavy hand, or like I think has a pretty big part in terms of like, you know, like infiltrating, you know, left-leaning groups like the Black Panthers and like, you know, civil rights like organizations back in the day. Like the CIA is an abhorrent organization that I want like to be completely destroyed. And if you need like maybe something else can be built in its place, honestly, I would just say destroy it and we'll see if we need something in the future. But like these people don't want to do that though. If I put up a bill to dismantle the CIA in its entirety in front of Congress, and these people like Jesse Waters and this dude were there and they had to vote on it, I guarantee you they would vote no. They do not want to get rid of the CIA. They love the CIA. They love what the CIA does. This is, I think, just like faux populism shit where like most people hate the deep state. Most people hate the CIA. And so they're just trying to pretend like they're on that side. And that's what a lot of the, you know, the alien release stuff or the JFK assassination information or whatever, like releases, a lot of these like document dumps and stuff are just to try to make them pretend like they are not vehemently pro CIA all the time, like pro deep state, pro, you know, pedo billionaire. Like that's what these guys really stand for. I don't know who this guy is really, if this is this John Curacao guy, former CIA officer. I guess that's him. I assure you that he doesn't want to dismantle the CIA like I want to dismantle the CIA.
To be declassified. The American people have a right to know what is in these files, and the CIA can't raid offices, least of all the offices of the Director of National Intelligence. It's just real life isn't supposed to work this way. This
Right.
is crazy.
This is something out of a movie, but the CIA was experimenting with LSD on willing and unwilling participants during the Cold War. For intelligence operations, and to exploit people.
That's not surprising. Like, like all they always like, dude. I'm. If you go look at like, if you have a good understanding of what the CIA is and what it does, like, none of these things are very surprising, and they shouldn't be surprising to people. Like the CIA also did like, like. I don't know, like, didn't they have like studies where they were trying to get like turn people psychic or whatever? And they had they also, I think, did a lot of like studies to see like, oh, can we like that dolphin thing recently where they were like, Iran is strapping missiles to dolphins or whatever. Like, I think the CIA literally did a program like that, like where they tried to see if they could do that, and it was a failure. It's really just a money pit, honestly. A lot of these programs that they do at the CIA is really just, you know, like a way to vacuum all of your tax dollars out and throw it into the void, because almost never does anything actually come from these like experiments and stuff that they do.
And it didn't go well a lot of the time, and they threw it all in a wastebasket, right? Like it never really worked. Is that why they don't want anybody to know about it?
I think they don't want people to know any more than what we know about, for example, dosing innocent citizens of San Francisco, California, or a small village in France and putting LSD in the yeast at the only bakery in the village just to see if everybody in the village would go nuts, which they did, of course.
That sounds like CIA
or coming
shit.
up with a program in San Francisco to hire prostitutes to dose Johns and see if they would cough up their innermost secrets. Ridiculous.
Well, you just have to hire Swalwell. He'll do pretty much anything. John.
Swalwell. I don't give Swalwell any LSD, man. Yeah, he's gonna start dosing girls left and right too. Like I don't know about that.
I hope we get to the bottom of this soon. Thanks for joining.
Okay, well, I thought they were going to talk more about Fauci. Man, I keep getting clickbaited, but it had at least like half of the video was relevant to what I wanted to talk about. But yeah, okay, the CIA stuff, whatever. You can have fun with that. I do want more transparency from the CIA. So I will strategically ally myself with right wingers on that particular issue if they want. But when it comes to the Fauci stuff or whatever, or the COVID shit, like, look, if you want to get more transparency about like, oh, did this actually come from a lab, or did it come from like a wet market or whatever? I want that transparency too. But I don't really see how it changes anything. And I think a lot of these people are really, really like looking for something to like, because that's kind of what a lot of the COVID stuff was like looking for something to be mad about and to wear as a cultural signifier or whatever. And I think that they just need to like when it comes to the Fauci stuff, at least, like, get over it, dude. He's like, he's like 90 years old. And I don't know exactly what they think he did, really, to be honest. But like, it was like 5 years ago at this point. I'm just saying, like, there's a whole wide world out there. You can focus on other things. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. We're going to go to BRICS. This is a short video, so this will probably be a pretty short clip. So I guess for those uninitiated, BRICS is Brazil, India, China. I forgot what the S was. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of countries in it at this point, like maybe 12 or 15. One might say too many, like they might have expanded a little too big, in my personal opinion. But essentially they are a group of non-Western aligned countries, or like some of them are aligned with the West, but like their goal is to essentially try to move away from the unipolar dollar system, right? They're trying to create technologies and groups that can like shift the power away from the dollar to a new sort of like monetary system that is more equitable and is not completely controlled by the West. Like, that's their primary goal. So I guess the title of this is India Seeks Unity as BRICS Divided Over War on Iran and Gulf Tensions. Maybe Saudi Arabia is the S on this one. So yeah, obviously one of the fallouts of the Iran war is going to be some tension within BRICS, especially if I'm right and the S is Saudi Arabia. You got Iran and Saudi Arabia in the same organization. So let's go ahead and watch this video. Let's see what's going on here. And we'll see what we think about if BRICS is gonna survive.
Just past these gates, foreign ministers of BRICS nations have been holding talks, but divisions within the group, which was set up to challenge groups like the G7 by emerging economies, have been on full display on day one. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi came face to face.
And for those unaware, BRICS represents about, I think, like 60% of the world economy or something, if I remember correctly. And the G7, I think, represents like 20 or 30% or something. It's like something crazy like that.
With leaders from the UAE for the first time since the war started, Iran's top diplomat has now called on BRICS member nations to condemn what he says are violations of international law by the US and Israel. He says
Okay, my numbers were a little bit off, but according to AI Overview, BRICS Plus covers roughly 45% of the global population, while the G7 accounts for roughly 10%.
BRICS member nations to condemn what he says are violations of international law by the US and Israel. He says BRICS countries should work together to shatter America's false sense of superiority and immunity. The comments come as Tehran has accused the UAE, without naming the country, of stalling attempts by the BRICS to issue a joint statement. UAE reportedly wants condemnation of recent Iranian strikes in the Gulf. In there, Tehran says any statement must include condemnation condemnation of American actions as well. A meeting of Deputy Foreign Minister.
Okay, I didn't even know that the UAE is in that. So, yeah, this is one of those things where I'm like, I do, in my personal opinion, I think that they expanded a little bit too big. The BRICS Plus, I think that they should have worked out a lot of stuff with a smaller group first. It's always going to be difficult because when you're not under a unipolar authority like America, with like the G7 or whatever, like where America essentially tells all of the G7 countries exactly what to do, right? They're all essentially little vassals to America. And so America like pretty much has unilateral control over that authority. In a situation like this, where you have a whole bunch of like lesser and middle powers, there's always going to be a lot more risk of like having different opinions on things, which can lead to like stalling and like not being able to accomplish what you want. And you need like mechanisms to get around that. If you're going to keep expanding like this, it needs to be, oh, South Africa, that's what the S is. Okay, that's what I remember now. Sorry, that just came to my brain. But yeah, if you're going to have like mechanisms like this, or you're going to need mechanisms to like overrule people who don't want to like do certain things or whatever. Like, I think that you got to move to like a more democratic situation instead of having like unilateral vetoes or something, if that's what they have for the UAE not wanting to release the statement or something.
Ministers in late April ended without a joint statement, and experts say it's very unlikely there will be consensus on this issue this time as well. New Delhi, which is this year's BRICS chair, has called on member nations to work together to find a solution as the global south and economies here bear an outsized impact of the war. Countries here have been grappling with energy, food and fertilizer shortages and supply chain disruptions.
Peace and security remain central to the global order. Recent conflicts only underline the importance of dialogue and diplomacy. There is a growing expectation, particularly from emerging markets and developing countries, that BRICS will play a constructive and stabilizing role.
India has also called for the safe and unimpeded flow of maritime traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this is vital for the Indian economy, which imports a bulk of its crude oil and cooking gas supplies through this crucial waterway. But Abbas Araghchi has told Iranian media at the sidelines of this summit that America's blockade of the strait is the issue. But as these talks continue, experts are warning that New Delhi is walking a diplomatic tightrope.
Yeah, it is. If America would have just like ended their blockade when Iran said, okay, we'll as a sign of good faith during the ceasefire, we will stop our blockade. If America would have just ended their blockade, then there could have been free flow of goods through the strait already. And America chose not to. And so therefore the blockade is still there. So yeah, if you want that to stop, then you're going to have to ask America.
As it tries to bridge these deep divisions within the bloc while trying to keep the focus on economic issues plaguing member nations. Neha Punya, Al Jazeera, New Delhi.
Okay, well, there you go, people. BRICS is in chaos. No, I'm just kidding. It seems like, there's just disagreements, and BRICS has a lot of disagreements, to be honest. That's why I say they expanded maybe a little too big. But in general, though, I think they're moving in the right direction. But I would say that they need to get mechanisms to move past things like intransigent members, unilaterally stopping things or whatever. It's the same with like the EU, man. They have a lot of like ways for individual countries to like block things from happening. I really think that a lot of these like international bodies need to be purely democratic in terms of like one country, one vote, and then you just like vote on a thing. Like you can vote on a statement, and if like 9 out of 10 countries agree on that statement, then it becomes the statement that you release, and the UAE can just suck it then. I think that's a much better way to do it than having unilateral vetoes, because we see how much that paralyzes everything at the UN already. I just don't think it's a good strategy, but okay. Let's see. I'm going to skip this one, and I'm going to go to Cuba.
Let's update you on what is happening in...
Okay. So unfortunately, while everybody's eyes were turned to Iran, Cuba is still suffering under the blockade being implemented on them by America's pedo billionaires. It's very, very sad. They really, they're running out of gas and oil again. I know that they've tried to electrify their grid with green energy as quickly as they can, but I mean, it's impossible, I think, to get it 100% anytime soon. I think they're at 30% or so of their grid is solar power or whatever, but they still need a lot of gas and oil to function. From the last time that we learned about Cuba, people, a lot of reporters and stuff went on that flotilla. They talked about the situation there. They talked about how the hospitals go out of power all the time. It's just really not a good situation. So, and then also I know that a Russian tanker had gotten through the blockade and given Cuba some oil, but apparently they're out again. So you need a steady flow of it. It's a modern country. It needs oil and gas to survive. So let's go ahead and watch this video, and we'll see what's going on, and hopefully something can be done about it by other countries or something. But
let's update you on what is happening in Cuba. There have been some rare protests that have broken out there in the capital, Havana. The island is grappling at the moment with its worst power blackouts in decades. It's been triggered by a US blockade. We saw hundreds of angry Cubans pouring onto the streets in several neighborhoods late on Wednesday. You can see them here. They're so angry about these fuel shortages. They've blocked roads. They burnt rubbish on the streets, as you can see. This marks the biggest single night of demonstrations in Havana since the energy crisis took hold in January. Well, earlier, Cuba's energy minister said the island had completely run out of fuel, oil and diesel, leaving the power grid in a critical state as this blockade from the US is really squeezing the country's supply. Our global affairs reporter, Mimi Swaby, is with me, who's been looking into this and covering it for weeks. It was moving to this point, wasn't it, Mimi? We've been reporting on the shortage.
Well, and also with the war in Iran, the global oil supply is down 20%. So, even if countries did want to break the American siege and go in, most countries right now are going to be we can't afford it right now. We need this oil for ourselves. Cuba was man, I don't know. The only country that might do something about it is Russia, because they produce a lot of oil and are in the past we're generally looking for places to sell it. But now that America has relieved a lot of their sanctions on Russian oil because of this oil shortage, they probably don't feel like they have to sell to Cuba or anything anymore. And they might sell to, but I don't know. I don't know how deep Cuba and Russia's alliance, or what, if you want to call it that, really are. I don't know if Russia would go out on a limb for Cuba or not. My guess is probably no. I don't know, man. It's rough.
Just for a long time, and now they've run out of fuel.
Exactly. The energy minister, Vicente de la Olive, has finally said the island has no diesel, it has no oil, and has very limited gas. He said the power grid was in a critical state. This has been exacerbated, this fuel shortage, by the US blockade, threatening tariffs to any country selling oil to Cuba. So it's once very kind of prominent suppliers, Venezuela and Mexico, haven't sent any fuel to the island. Only one oil tanker, a Russian oil tanker, has been permitted to pass through this blockade. But according to the energy minister, the delivery from that oil tanker has now run out, leaving the island in complete darkness, so to speak.
So complete darkness, this seems maybe like an obvious question, but what has it meant for life there? How are people getting by?
People are really struggling. For months now, the situation has been...
There were a whole bunch of reporters who went in that flotilla, lady. We already saw what it's like, and it's not good. The story that sticks out the most to me is the story that Ryan Grimm told about the hospitals. Whenever the power goes out, they have generators, but it takes a few minutes for the generators to come up. So whenever the power goes out, they have to go down to the NICU or whatever, where they keep all the babies, and they have to go down, or like all of the the babies who are like premature or whatever, and they have to go down and they have to manually pump their oxygen and stuff. And it's like it's terrifying, because if you mess up, that baby is dead. And this is all completely manufactured by America. This is not they would be just fine if they were allowed to just trade with countries like a normal, sovereign state or whatever. If they were just allowed to trade with countries, all of these hospitals would be working fine. Their economy would be booming. All of the people would be, living the good life, succeeding. Like, it would be amazing. And we just subject them to this incredibly barbaric, punishment, all because they had the audacity to have a revolution against our elites or whatever, owning all of their essentially pushing America out of American pedobillionaires out of their country a long time ago. And now it's and now just because I don't know, I guess they're communist or whatever, we feel the need to go in and fuck with them and just try to, kill as many elderly and babies that we possibly can in their country. It's absurd.
Been deteriorating at a quite rapid rate. I've heard from residents that they're waking up in the early hours of the night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., when there is a brief moment of electricity to do their daily tasks, be that cooking for the next day, washing clothes. People are enduring prolonged blackouts. These can last up to 22 hours, commonly in Havana and the neighboring, the outskirts of the neighborhoods there. That is on top of basic goods being scarce. There really aren't many basic goods and food. Many individuals are saying they are living solely off bread. And anything you try and preserve in fridges, you can't preserve it because there's no energy to preserve it. Solar panel has been something that many people have been talking about. We've had a few humanitarian aid deliveries. For example, from Mexico, the energy minister has also said from China has delivered some solar power equipment. However, solar panel is very expensive to start, and it's also quite weather intermittent. So that is a source of potential energy, but at the moment, people are really just struggling to live their daily lives.
And that desperation, Mimi, has turned into anger as well. How unusual is it to see protests like we saw last night?
These protests are really unusual. They mark the biggest single demonstration since this crisis was exacerbated in January. Any political dissent is largely quashed by the authoritarian regime.
I mean, I'm always highly skeptical about these protests, man. I know the CIA has a lot of people in Cuba. Okay. I'm sure that there are some people, particularly younger people who might, be radicalized against their government because they see, the prosperity that's just so close, like in Florida or whatever. It's 90 miles away or whatever. And then they have to live in, essentially a state of destitution that's being imposed on them by America. And so I'm sure that there are some people, a lot of people out there who are, don't have a favorable view of the Cuban government. However, it is the CIA has a huge operation in Cuba, and a lot of these I always assume that a lot of these protests are being led by CIA operatives, just because that has been a huge part of it in the past. That's how the CIA operates in a lot of Latin American countries. So that's kind of my thoughts on that, at least.
Regime in Cuba, and we've seen many political prisoners detained now for months, years, some of them without being charged with anything. So the majority of challenges to the Cuban government come from outside the island, and people just want change. They're really hungry for change, and it comes off the back of the US renewing its offer for $100 million humanitarian aid if Cuba makes some meaningful changes to its communist system.
That it won't change that much. 100 million. I mean, sure, it would be great. However, it won't change that much. They need a lifting of the blockade. I think they've offered a lot of concessions to the West as well, in terms of like allowing more capitalists in, allowing more pedo billionaires in to skim off like super profits off the top of their corporations or whatever. Like, I think that they have offered that to America. I don't think America, honestly, I think America is a brutal, barbaric country that wants to see these people suffer, like out of spite, out of being a dying empire and lashing out for all of these reasons. Like, I just think that America is a vindictive, spiteful, hateful, evil country when it comes to Cuba, and it's very, very sad to watch. But okay, let's move on. Let's have a little bit of fun now. Okay, people, I don't know what this is. This channel, this is LaRue. It looks like a green screen like holding the microphone type of channel, which I always love those types of channels. I think they're pretty fun. Anyway, it only has 14K subscribers, so not that far above me, to be honest. About 14K above me, to be specific. But anyway, this is it. I don't know who this channel is, but the title caught my eye, the thumbnail caught my eye. It's got Kash Patel on it, and it says "How to Day Drink Discreetly," FBI edition. So guys, we're gonna learn how to get day drunk at your job and not get caught. And I don't care if you guys do this, as long as you're not operating like heavy machinery or like doing it in a way that like will hurt people. So let's all find out together how to day drink discreetly. If you were, for instance, working at the FBI. So let's see what this video is all about.
Bombshell allegation.
Oh, and it says, of course, this is all satire. So I feel obligated to say that as well, in case, in case the YouTube overlords come for me.
About the FBI director in the Atlantic.
Meanwhile, House Democrats are demanding an investigation into reports that FBI Director Kash Patel is abusing alcohol on the job.
Okay, say hypothetically, you love your fucking country and you love your fucking job and you just started watching this Danish movie about how drinking makes you cool as fuck. I fucking love that movie. I should really finish this movie. It's fucking sick. Now, also say hypothetically.
I don't know what movie that was. But
that the fake ass news media is trying to say that you're drunk at your job all the time, which is not true. And even if it was, they wouldn't get it because they haven't seen the movie. Which is why I'm making a YouTube video guide on how to day drink discreetly at your normal job, where it's actually good if you drink because it makes you better at it. Here's my step by.
Okay, I want to go ahead and go out on a limb and say I don't really care if the FBI agents get drunk at their job, primarily because I don't like the FBI and I want them to be as incompetent as possible. And I think them all being intoxicated would make it harder for them to, like, I don't know, frame autistic Muslims into like saying that they're terrorists or whatever, like whatever mission they were assigned from the CIA that day.
Job, where it's actually good if you drink because it makes you better at it. Here's my step-by-step guide from dawn till dusk.
Extreme far left and far right that have made this into some sort of comedy.
6 a.m. Wake up. Copy paste your security detail briefing for the day into ChatGPT because you really don't need to read all that. Okay? Blah, blah.
Okay, I'm already seeing a little bit of a problem. ChatGPT, as far as I know, is not secure. So all of that information is now owned by Sam Altman. And that's also if you weren't aware out there, all of you people who are ChatGPT and all of your deepest, darkest secrets and questions and stuff, I like that Sam Altman has now downloaded all of that into a super mega blackmail file that he keeps in case he ever needs it in the future. I'm just letting you know.
Ron lunch meeting, blah, blah, correspondence, like, boring. 6:15 a.m. Go work out in your private gym, but don't actually. This is when you start drinking, right? Because you want to start drinking now when your stomach's empty.
Why not both? A nice gym beer. Anybody out there ever tried gym beer before? It's probably not the best for your gains, but it makes it, sometimes people, sometimes the hardest part about making gains in the gym is just getting there in the first place. And you know what makes it a lot easier to get there? a nice cold brew, you know. Maybe so, you know, if you're having trouble with your gains, maybe you do need to you know, try out a gym beer. Maybe that's what you need.
Empty, because then you feel it right away.
Patel has given out bottles of his personalized whiskey to FBI staff, as well as civilians he encounters in his duties.
7 a.m. Beg your 27-year-old girlfriend for sex before breakfast. She says no, in which case, use your FBI negotiating tactics.
Please! And I walked her up to her and I told her she had a nice jacket on.
Is this his honeypot girlfriend? For those unaware, a lot of people think she's a Mossad op who's there to be Kash Patel's handler on behalf of the Israeli state.
And I think she turned around and walked away.
That's not true. She says yes, but only if her specialized FBI security detail that she has for some reason can use an additional SUV so that she can shuttle her and her girls onto the FBI jet to Tampa for the weekend. Then eat breakfast.
I don't have the time to cook, so.
7:30 a.m. Put makeup under your eyes to make it look like you haven't been on a 2-week bender. It doesn't.
Is this guy drunk? Is that his whole thing? Is he also being day drunk? Unfortunately, if he is, I think that I caught him. If I was his boss, I would have to give him a stern talking to. He wasn't doing it discreetly enough.
It doesn't work. Fuck! 8 a.m. Arrive at headquarters. Take a sip from your special water bottle that you made, and no one can touch it. Because it's just water. Go to your senior staff meeting. Get your intelligence briefings from the division heads. Ask them if they've seen the latest Joe Rogan. Tell them that Joe's going to have you on again soon, any day now.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Even when I was on the campaign, I was just, this is like the best way to get information out. Great question. Nobody asked these questions. This is probably why your show's number one.
He hasn't had, I don't think Joe Rogan has had Kash Patel back since, what was the last thing? Was it the Charlie Kirk stuff, or was it after that? Man, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'll see if I can find it.
Room goes quiet. No one says anything. Fuck, they think you're a pussy. Fuck, but it's actually them. Okay, drink. This will help with the dark feelings which you don't want on the job.
June 6th, 2025. That was pretty soon after the Charlie Kirk thing, wasn't it? When did Charlie Kirk? No, that was before that. Okay, so he hasn't been on since then. Interesting.
9 a.m. At this point, you're properly buzzed. From here, get out of the meeting and ask your assistant.
Also, I always tell people he's a pretty short guy. I think. I think that it doesn't take that much for him to get a little buzz going. I think that he should probably stick to beer, not hard alcohol.
At this point, you're properly buzzed. From here, get out of the meeting and ask your assistant to launch a secret investigation into everyone that was in that room due to suspected things. Fuck these. From here, take a power.
Okay, I'll try to. So basically, Kash Patel is constantly lie detectoring every single person on his FBI meetings or whatever, to see if they're the ones who are leaking to the media about him being too drunk to get out of bed in the morning, and them having to bash in his door just to go see if he's okay. He's been tearing through the FBI.
Nap in your office, but not before another nap cap. So you like to call it. Remember to lock your door. Wake up, 11 a.m. You slept too long. Check your bank account. Sick. Another payment from your book publisher for your best-selling Amazon novel that has.
Oh my God, is that a real book? Government Gangsters? Jesus, dude.
The list of all your enemies. 11:25 a.m. Travel to your lunch meet. Briefly glance at the case briefings that your assistant left for you in the car. Boring. From here, respond to a text from your girlfriend. Her country music career is stalling, but if you could get her onto one more podcast, she might finally become famous and therefore finally love you.
Wow. Wasn't she didn't she get caught holding hands with somebody and like after the White House Correspondents' Dinner thing? Wasn't she like stuck in a like I thought that she came out of a room holding hands with another guy or something, which was really embarrassing if I remember correctly. Sometimes I get people mixed up in my head, so it could have been somebody else, but I think it might have happened.
12 p.m. You're at the restaurant. Your foreign intelligent counterparts arrive. You make a joke about ordering a round of shots. Let's fucking go. They all politely decline. The waiter comes back with your food. She says, "Enjoy," and you say, "Thanks, you too." Fuck. 12:15 p.m. You're properly drunk now. The MI6 woman seems to notice. Some other agent is taking pictures of you with his pen camera. Like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Fucking pussy, man. But at this point, it's important to recuse yourself from the meeting because you just got a text from the president. Yeah, this asserts your authority. It makes it look like you're busy and not that there's anything wrong or bad happening. It's actually something good that's happening. 1 p.m.
Drink because the lunch had seriously bad vibes.
Get your team to prep the jet for a spontaneous Vegas visit. For security reasons.
Make sure and bring your honeypot girlfriend too.
Text your guy to get set up the Vegas Nights box tickets.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Let's fucking go. Now, if you're saying, "Oh, I don't have a private jet" at this point in the guide, brother, this is not the video for you. I can't teach you how to pass off personal trips as work travel. I can't teach you where to get a fucking private jet. This is the part you have to figure out for your fucking self, you pieces. 1:45 p.m. Board the jet and take off, dude. Don't tell your fucking assistant either. Receive a real text from the president this time. He's asking you to kill Comey. Remind him that you
kill Comey ASAP. That's so funny. I mean, I honestly wouldn't be that surprised if the president has sent some unhinged text like that. I feel like I feel like Trump would be the type who would like send something like that to you as like a boss that would like send something crazy like that to you, but then put like a laughing emoji after it or something. So it's like impossible to tell if that's what if they actually want you to do that or not. Yeah, no, that's wild.
Do that, but you'll like arrest him or something. Like he doesn't respond. He doesn't he doesn't like me. Fuck. Put on your favorite movie during the flight to distract yourself.
I still don't know what movie that is, man. I'm gonna have to look that up too.
6:20 p.m. You wake up to a text from your girlfriend.
Hey, it's after 6. After 6, it's all good, man. You're off the job, right?
She sends you a picture of you from lunch. She asks if you're drinking again. You wonder how she got that picture. Get an email from the company that does your Kash merch. Let's go, dude. They say that you still haven't paid them for the last 2 months.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that he had Kash Patel merch. Is that from his podcast, or is that from his like from being an FBI director? Are FBI directors allowed to have merch? Like, am I like? I don't. This is a question that needs to be answered. Like, are public officials allowed to just have merch? I guess so, right? Like, I know that people have like merch for politicians, I guess. It's just weird to think that the FBI director having merch, like, was Comey the last one? If I don't think he had any merch as far as I'm aware. Comey should get some merch though. Comey should get a shirt with that seashell picture that he's being indicted for. What was it? Here, let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, this one. If I were Comey, oh dude, this would be so funny. Okay. You know how they're trying to indict him right now for like taking this picture and throwing it up on Twitter? If I were Comey, I would create merch that just has this exact picture, just a plain black t-shirt with this exact Google image, just a square right on it that just has 8647. I would sell it on my on my website just to like piss off the Trump administration, because they're going to try and come after you anyway, right? They're going to try and, you know, throw you in jail regardless. So you might as well have a little fun with it and make some money, right? That's what I would do.
They say that you still haven't paid them for the last 2 months. 6:30 p.m. The flight just landed. You're in Vegas.
Hell yeah.
Deploy sunglasses. You're living.
By the way, I've heard that Vegas, I don't know that I haven't been. I don't know if I've ever been to Vegas actually, but I heard that recently it's kind of dead, isn't it? Because like a lot of tourists don't come anymore, particularly Canadian tourists, because they're pissed off at America. And then a lot of people just don't have the disposable income anymore. So I've heard that Vegas is kind of like, you know, pretty dead right about now. So I don't think it would be like this. Although in Cash's mind, I'm sure it is like this. But in reality, I'm sure it's like, you know, 5 people at the club trying to get a dance going or whatever, when there's like, you know, maybe 10 people total in there. Like
7 p.m. Arrive at T-Mobile Arena. Put your phone on silent because your assistant keeps fucking messaging you about some policy or fucking admin meeting that you missed. It's crucial now that you order a couple beers, because you're finally...
It is.
It's time to wind down for the night, and no one cares anymore, because you're finally time to wind down and off the clock. As it turns out, one of your aides is somehow also in the box they followed you here. Oh my God. But it's okay, because you still have a little more sippy left in your water bottle.
No.
Oh fuck. Oh.
That's a bad feeling when an alcoholic is out of alcohol, especially if they're like, oh no, now I have to make a decision. Do I drunk drive to the gas station to try to get more, or do I just you know, bite the bullet and go to bed? You know, it's yeah. Poor Cash. He's having a hard time with that decision right now.
Fuck. Ask if you can get into the locker room after first period. They say no. Fuck. Tell them that the team thinks you're really cool. The team thinks you're really cool. They say no again. Oh, I have to piss. Oh, no, fuck. Oh, no. I have to fucking piss. Ask if you can leave the room to piss. They say no. Fuck. Stop. Run out of the room.
What?
10 p.m. Spawn at a nightclub. You're standing next to your Republican donor and timeshare executive roommate that you live in Vegas.
Wait a second. I think I recognize that background song. Let's hear it again.
10 p.m. Spawn at a nightclub. You're standing next to your Republican donor and timeshare executive roommate that you live in Vegas with for some reason.
Yeah, it's the Charlie Kirk song.
I love my fucking country. I love my fucking job.
I think it was, at least. It kind of went off, or it kind of changed at the end, but I think that was the Charlie Kirk song.
1 a.m.
Uh-oh.
You wake up in front of a mirror.
Oh no.
Who am I?
Existential.
I serve my country and no one even respects me. They changed my passwords? Oh, fuck these people.
I was never locked out of my systems.
I'm performing at a level that no one's ever seen before. And it's because of a Danish movie that I really like. Drinking makes you awesome and better at everything, and your girlfriend actually even laughs at your jokes, even though afterwards when you're sober she says she doesn't like you. It's not true. And the woke they want to take that from us. And all you people talk about is, where are the rest of the Epstein files? Fuck! Enough of the bullshit. Mr. President, I understand what I have to do.
Oh, green screen.
Six a.m.
He's back to the beginning. Okay, well, there you go. You know what? I thought that was a pretty fun video. They had some good moments, and I like the idea that that the way that he got into the hockey room at the end of the game was that he was just like, he needed a way to get another drop of alcohol, and he was like, they got some down there. I think that's a new funny lore drop that I'm probably going to incorporate into my Cash Money lore. So okay, well, that was kind of cool. I think I'm just gonna head over to x.com and make this a shorter one, just because I got started a little bit later than I wanted to. So let's go over here. Let's see what's happening in x.com. Okay. This is from the White House. When President Xi very elegantly referred to the United States as perhaps being a declining nation, he was referring to the tremendous damage we suffered during the 4 years of sleepy Joe Biden. But now the United States is the hottest nation anywhere in the world. Oh my God. Okay, I think I have to read this whole thing because this is incredible. This is incredible. Give me 1 sec. I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Okay, well, maybe not. I thought I was going to. I'm sure it'll come back at the worst possible time. But I'm going to read this whole thing and see what our big, beautiful president is saying. When President Xi very elegantly referred to the United States as perhaps being a declining nation, he was referring to the tremendous damage we suffered during the 4 years of sleepy Joe Biden and the Biden administration. And on that score, he was 100% correct. I guarantee you that is not what they've said. That is not what Xi Jinping said. Like, Xi Jinping is a very meticulous person when it comes to his statements. He would never say like, oh, Joe Biden is the reason that everything is wrong and you're actually the greatest, Donald Trump. Also because he doesn't have to. He's not like one of our little vassals who like feel like they have to suck up to Donald Trump to get stuff. Like, so I guarantee you that is not what Xi Jinping said. This is just, but what I do think that he said, or like what the Chinese delegation said, is that America is a declining empire, which is correct. It is, and it has been for a while now, like for like 20-ish years or so, I would say. And so, like, no one president is going to change that. And in fact, it's not even a changeable thing. The only thing that could change it is like a straight up like revolution that like completely reorganizes American society. And even if we did that, I don't think it would stop it. I think it would be like we would need like another 50, 60, 100 years to rebuild to eventually become another, superpower again. But I don't think that's going to happen either anytime soon. So anyway, so then he says, our country suffered immeasurably with open borders, high taxes, transgender for everyone. That's my favorite one of Biden's policies, is transgender for everyone. You're trans, I'm trans, we're all trans. Everybody, like, I think it's so funny because like I'd like to imagine like that Futurama episode where like everybody switches genders and then everything's like exactly the same. I'm like, if we all just switch genders, I become a girl, my wife becomes a guy, but then everybody just goes on in the world exactly the same. It would literally be like nothing would change, right? Like, I don't know. I think that's funny. Men and women's sports, who cares? DEI. The DEI was the last defense we had against white fail sons taking over like our planes and stuff and crashing them into the ground. So I'm personally a fan of DEI. Horrible trade deals, rampant crime, and so much more. President Xi was not referring to the incredible rise that the United States has displayed to the world during the 16 spectacular months of the Trump administration, which includes all-time high stock markets and 401ks, military victory, and thriving relationship in Venezuela. He can't get over Venezuela, dude. The military decimation of Iran to be continued. Ugh. Strongest military on earth by far, economic powerhouse again, with a record $18 trillion being invested into the United States by others. That number just keeps going up as well. I think there may have been commitments to some, but I don't think that there's been actually that much real investment by other countries. Maybe like like a few $100 billion or something. Best U.S. jobs market in history. I don't know about that. With more people working in the United States right now than ever before. Again, I don't know about that. That doesn't sound right. Ending country destroying DEI. No, like I said, the DEI, we need to bring that shit back, man. If we want our planes to stop falling out of the sky, like we need DEI. It's our last protectorate, and so many other things that it would be impossible to readily list. In fact, President Xi congratulated me on so many tremendous successes in such a short period of time. 2 years ago, we were in fact a nation in decline. On that, they don't even understand, like, I don't think they, like, I don't know, maybe Trump does. I don't think so. I don't even think most of his administration understands like the concept of the United States being in decline. This isn't something that like is just like it happens for a few years and then another president comes and then we're back on the up, and then a president comes in and we're back on the decline. No, this is a long trajectory that has been happening for like 20 years now. Man, our president is so dumb, dude. It's so dumb. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's go back to the top, I guess. They got 35 new posts. Although I don't even know if that's new stuff, because this says 6 hours ago, and I think that last one was 1 hour ago. Okay. I don't know what that is. That's an ad. Okay. This is from Anonymous, but this is posted by Kyle Kalinske from Secular Talk. Let's see what's going on here. We got everybody's favorite wife of Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk. Let's go.
So last year, Charlie was violently murdered by an assassin. And martyred.
Somber mood engaged. Dramatic swoop executed.
His wonderful wife, Erica, is with us.
Look at the ceiling over. It's so fake, dude.
She's already standing. Oh my god.
Abort. All expressions at once activated.
So all come together to reaffirm
Oh my gosh.
America
Now
is one
it's still
nation
dry. Man, that's rough, dude. I just don't know if she's like just is unable to express herself generally or something, but she really needs to take some acting classes or something. Or like get some media training. Like you got to get better at like pretending to be sad. That was wild. I'm gonna give that a like. Pokimane says it's my birthday. It's got a nice little dress on. Cool. Congratulations. Oh God, I don't want to read. Today, I instructed my legal advisors to consider the harshest legal action against the New York Times and Nicholas Kristof. They defamed the soldiers of Israel and perpetuated a blood libel about rape, trying to create a false symmetry between the genocidal terrorists of Hamas and Israelis' valiant soldiers. Under my leadership, Israel will not be silent. We will fight these lies in the court of public opinion and in the court of law. Truth will prevail. I got news for you. You already lost in the court of public opinion because there's literal video of it. Like everybody's seen it. Everybody knows what you are. The court of public opinion is over. It's donezo. Nobody likes Israel. Everybody hates them. I don't think there's anything they can do in the court of law. This is a well-researched article that was posted in the New York Times. Nothing's going to happen. And also, you're also cry bullying against like the New York Times, which was one of the biggest bulwarks of like trying to keep people on Israel's side for the entire genocide. And they did their job really well. The New York Times really helped people maintain the genocide or like, not turn against the genocide as soon as they would have. Like they played their part really well in protecting Israel. And so now this is one of those classic situations where the Israelis can't take good enough for an answer. And so even when people are just like mildly critical of them or like, says the most open and like easily, like everybody already knows this as a fact, like reporting that has ever existed, they can't help but like fly into a like Zionism brain addled like rage. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Like, there needs to be a term for that, man. Like, you got like roid rage when people are on steroids. Like, there needs to be a term for like Zionism rage or something, because they go nutty. Okay, let's see, what do we got here? Okay, Mogler HQ says political violence is on the rise, and Scott Jennings, Kentucky, or KY, I guess, tries to blame Adam Mockler. Can't you just take responsibility for it? Let's go ahead and see this.
Can't you just take responsibility for it?
Oh,
on the left.
But let's not do the he has to take responsibility because he's a Democrat.
Trump accused of threatening violence against the left is what the Chiron says. This is pretty a terrible format to do for your video, Mockler HQ. This text takes up like 90% of the screen.
You sat here and said, I need to take responsibility. I'm a 22-year-old YouTuber. You hold me to a higher standard than the man that
I'm
we
holding you
just
to your
listened
standard of your punditry.
Donald
Your
Trump was
punditry
just
is that Trump's
vomiting
at fault.
vitriol out of his mouth about how the other party is weak and evil. And he just said, the party of hate, evil, and Satan. You blind yourself to that, and you're focusing on a 22-year-old YouTuber. All of this escalation can be traced back to his entrance into American politics. His claim to fame was saying that Obama...
Yeah, I mean, it can. I mean, that is true. I don't think people would have ever been as open to, an accepting of political violence against politicians if Donald Trump hadn't opened that door. But that door was going to be open regardless, because the material conditions of people's existence was getting worse and worse. In America, the violence that is needed to maintain this level of wealth inequality was going to get more severe and severe against the working class. So eventually this sort of violence was going to express itself regardless. But Donald Trump was the catalyst. Let's not pretend like he wasn't
born in America. He was the first presidential candidate to have his crowd chant, "Lock her up," about a political opponent. You can bring up the insurrection. He posted a photo of Chicago being invaded by the Department of War. So the broader point here is Donald Trump endlessly deflects and tries to blame it on the other side when he is the one responsible for amping up the tension in America. And I've spent all of my formative years throughout high school, throughout college, looking to the president, who I'm supposed to be able to look up to, and seeing somebody who's trying to place blame on the left, who's amping up the rhetoric constantly. And yeah, it's not good.
Can't you just take...
Yeah, I mean, this is just no contest, man. Political violence is always more prevalent on the right. That's how it's always been throughout human history. We don't have to sit here and pretend like it's not. Like the right is always quick to violence, and they're usually quick to well, I guess both forms. Like I was going to say decentralized violence, but they also they also are quick to violently retaliating against people through the structures of political power as well. Yeah, I mean, it's not even close, man. Let's see. Political violence, right versus left. I mean, it's pretty this knowledge is obvious, and I don't know, you can just go look it up. Let me see if I can find something here. I'll just pull this. Oh my gosh, that's what I meant to do. Give me 1 second. Okay, so look at all these numbers, man. Let me open this in a new tab so that you can see it better. Look at this. The red is right. The dark gray is Islamist, which why can't you fit that into a right wing or left wing ideology? I mean, come on, that's kind of ridiculous that they would even have a separate category for that. But look at the left. Look at the left leaning violence on this. The one that is stated to be left. Even if you included all of Islamism into the left and all of other into the left, it would not even come close to right-wing political violence. It's absurd to try to say anything else. But regardless of whether it's right-wing or left-wing is I don't know, it's all going to grow regardless. Both right-wing and left-wing ideology. We're also getting this new form as well, which is reactionary lib, like the person who allegedly shot or was going to shoot up the White House Correspondents' Dinner, like reactionary, like blue sky shit lib, is a new kind of like extremism or violence that is going to, but these are all just like natural consequences of like the violence that we are subjecting the working class to in order to maintain the super profits for like pedo billionaires. Like the only way to stop this is a massive redistribution of wealth towards the working class. Otherwise the violence is going to just keep rising, and that's like just a natural state of the human condition. We don't have to pretend like that's not what's going to happen, and it's inevitable. And we should just try to fix the things that lead to this violence. And also just doing the blame game back and forth between like left and right. I don't know. I don't think it's very productive, to be honest. Personally, like I pulled up the stat just so that people could be aware, because it is like, the right wing's violence is significantly more and like usually used for oppressing like others, right? Whereas if there are instances of left-wing violence, it's usually through the form of like anarchism or trying to take down, like, I don't know, like I guess you could say like Luigi or something, like trying to take out a CEO or somebody who shouldn't have as much wealth or whatever, right? Even Luigi's political ideology is kind of like, mixed, right? It's a little incoherent, just like most Americans' ideology is a little bit incoherent. So but yeah, I don't know, I just don't like boiling it down to that personally, because I just think that violence is violence, and it's going to grow like based on material conditions. So that's my thoughts on that. Okay, let's see what else we got. I don't care about how smart. Can we ask ourselves, how did this person get into the leadership role of the House of Representatives? Who was the guy before? There's that whole fight, and somehow Mike Johnson ended up on top, and he was just some schlub like in the House of Representatives who like somehow ended up at the top of it and is now just like in this like perma leadership position or whatever. It's very interesting, his rise in political power. What's this? 12 Congress members are co-sponsoring Rashida Tlaib's Nakba recognition resolution, up from 8 last year. That's awesome. Yeah, we should recognize the atrocities of the past. It's the only way to, it's the only way to heal the wounds on the soul of our country. If we don't do that, then we're doomed to just live in permanent, hatred and anxiety. So anyway, we got AOC, Andre Carson, Jesus Garcia, Al Green, Hank Johnson, Summer Lee, Betty McCollum, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Delia Ramirez, Latifah Simone, Bonnie Watson Coleman. So went from 8 to 12 this year. So moving in the right direction. All Democrats, by the way, Emma Vigeland said. Yes, all Democrats, but not enough Democrats. I'll just put that. Maybe she'll see it. There's only 29 comments on this one. All Democrats, but not all Democrats. There we go. Or maybe I should have said, but it should be all Democrats. Oh, well. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. Matt Lieb says, really enjoy watching every Zionist influencer and institution spend the last 48 hours yelling, you can't make dogs. Okay. You can't make dogs have sex with, like, I think he's putting the claps in here to maybe disrupt the algorithm or something. Humans, just trust me on this one. Yeah. That's an atrocious story. I mean, I covered the, systematic sexual abuse of Palestinian prisoners on a different video. I'm not going to go super deep into it now because it makes me really sad. What the fuck is this, dude? A Wall Street Journal analysis of thousands of posts found that President Trump uses Truth Social to spread conspiracy theories and attack his adversaries. and then the White House says, sorry that happened to you, with Wall Street Journal with a sombrero on it. Like, man, I swear to God, we like, why is the White House like shit posting, man? It's insane. I don't understand. I hate this world that we live in. So AOC ripped the Trump administration over spending on the National Mall reflecting pool and the planned White House ballroom, arguing that Americans are struggling to afford groceries, rent, and mortgages. She called the priorities deeply out of touch and insulting to everyday people. I'm surprised that Fox News is covering this, to be honest, because this makes AOC sound rad as fuck and is like the majority of opinion of the country. Like, nobody likes the ballroom shit, and nobody likes him doing all of these rich person vanity projects while people are having a hard time paying rent and shit. Like, this is like, it's incredible. The optics of it are incredibly terrible. If anything, AOC is just giving Trump a hint of like, you got to stop doing this shit. So here, let's listen to her say it.
I think that people can't feed themselves. They're having a hard time affording their groceries. They're having an even harder time in a lot of ways affording their rent and mortgages. And why should this administration, and this president has openly said that he doesn't care or doesn't think about the financial situations of everyday Americans at all, then try to take $1 billion more out of our health care and put that towards a ballroom when people are already struggling. It's just deeply out of touch. I think it's insulting to everyday people who are trying to get by on an honest day's work.
Yeah, it is. I'm like I said, I'm surprised Fox News is like showing this because it makes her look rad as hell. Okay, intellectual conservatism needs fighters to survive. From Tom Klingenstein. This is an ad. I got duped into reading an ad. Preferring dignified defeat to harsh victory is how you lose a country. What? I don't know what that is. Yohei from Japan. I'm Japanese, so Japanese is my first language, and many Japanese people learn English as their second language. So I have a question for Americans. What language do Americans learn as their second language? In general, none. Nobody really has a second language in America. A lot of people take Spanish as an elective. Some schools offer like more options, like usually French and German as other options for languages. That was what my school offered. But in general, most people take Spanish, though. But nobody would even, I think, or most people wouldn't claim that they have a second language in Spanish. Me, on the other hand, I know a little bit of Japanese, Mr. Yohei from Japan. I don't know if I can, I don't have my thing. I don't even think I have this computer set up to be able to type in Japanese, but I don't know if they even have an option here for like language change or something, but I'll just go ahead and say most Americans don't have a second language, but I know a little Japanese as a cultured anime watcher. How does that sound? There we go. Global Samud Flotilla. Okay, so we are sailing when they intercepted our vessels last week. They brutalized us physically, and I didn't know they did that to them too, and sexually. The Israeli army showed the lengths that they are prepared to go to in order to block humanitarian aid to Gaza. We don't know what they will do next. We sail because the risk of not sailing, of normalizing genocide, is too great. Witness is protection. We need all eyes on the flotilla now and over the coming days as we sail towards Gaza. It's rad as hell, man. Keep it up. Keep those flotillas going. Israel did beat the shit out of them, by the way, the people that they abducted when they kidnapped them from the high seas, like in international waters, which is a war crime. So they'll probably, keep doing that to them. Whoops. It's going to be hard for them, though, now that the report is out of all of their sexual assault atrocities and everybody knows about it now. I mean, I don't think they'll be able to restrain themselves, honestly, from committing more SA against people. It's kind of like baked into their system to do that. So I feel like they're still going to do it, even with that New York Times report coming out. Okay. Somebody made a zine. Cool. I like zines. This person says, we're looking for a name of this magnificent Renaissance painting. What would you name it? You can't do this, man. They have to be like trolling for engagement, right? They have to be. This is a butthole. It's a butthole. How do I view comments again? Do I click on it? Nope. Or do I click on the post? Okay, there we go. Constipation art. How? I don't understand how not everybody is just saying it's a butthole. This is a butthole. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just the one with butthole on my brain. Maybe I'm just seeing buttholes where there's not buttholes. Everywhere I go, I'm seeing buttholes. I don't know. Maybe because I see my cat's butthole all the time. That's what I'm seeing. I'll just say, it looks like my cat's butthole. Okay. What do we got? That's an ad. Taylor Lorenz reposted this. Investigative journalist and I'm not even gonna try. Insurgent independent running in New England first, or what is Nevada first? What is that? Nebraska first. Oh, I don't know my state, my state 2-letter thingies or whatever. To fight for the little guy and take Nebraska back. Okay, I don't know anything about him. I'm trying to find. I'm gonna find something funny and get out of here, or something fun and get out of here at least. Okay, so what's this? The vision is so clear. Just Caroline takeover. What is this?
When we were at dinner, I was like, "Give me your phone right now. Give me your phone." She follows you on Instagram. I will DM her, and you're like,
"I said congrats."
I'm coming on your stream when she comes on. Yes, I am. I am, because I know so much more about. No, I am, and I told you to DM her. It's true. When we were at dinner,
I was like, "Is that Hassan?" I don't know. I can't tell. Okay. What's this? Okay. So many progressive, this is from the I've Had It podcast. I guess this is an interview. Many progressives have had it with President Trump and the perceived lackluster response from the Democratic Party, but Welch, alongside co-host Angie Sullivan, created a successful podcast out of it. The former Bravo star has quickly made a name for herself as one of the city's most high-profile leftists, courting 1.2 million Instagram followers and drawing the likes of Barack Obama, Elizabeth Warren, and AOC for interviews. Her book, Not Today Fascist, is out in October. My daily media diet: Zateo, Dropsite News, and a personally curated list of journalists and political influencers I follow on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good list. My dream New York dinner party: Zora Mamdani, AOC, and Letitia James. Yeah, it's a pretty good party. Pretty good party. Okay, cool. Okay, let's try to find something fun and get out of here. Nope. That's not fun. That's not fun.
I'm a socialist because I think we should fund.
That's probably not fun. Okay, let's see what this is.
Here's what I would like to also invite.
Oh God.
In addition to everything that we know we're going to do in terms of what we have to do to activate, to march, to protest, to speak up, I think that we need an expanded playbook. Okay. And I think there's going to be some risk that we're going to have to assume along with that.
This isn't very fun. I'm sorry. Kamala Harris is just, I don't know. Her Riz levels are too low for me. Okay, what do we got?
Decolonizing the watermelon from the pro-Palestine freaks. It's Israeli. It always has been. It always will be.
Watermelon isn't Palestinian or Israeli. It's a fruit that everyone...
Okay. Sorry. This, I mean, this doesn't look, it didn't seem like it was going to be that much fun. So, let's see what we got here. I watched Hassan's interview with Gabor Mate. It seemed pretty good. I liked it. Gabor, he seems really, really smart. He does a lot of he does a lot of writing, I think, about trauma, and particularly trauma as it relates to society and like societal pressures and whatnot. Which I think is, a very good topic for discussion. As someone who went through a particular form of trauma, I think during the beginning of the genocide against the Palestinians, I think that that's something that like a lot of times we don't really take into account that much or whatever, is trauma from, society, as opposed to trauma from like individual like incidents or trauma from like your upbringing. Like I think trauma, like societal trauma is and like national trauma, I think is something that doesn't get enough talk or discussion. So anyway, let's find something good. Oof, yikes. Indiana Trump supporter Tyler Sesenek has been arrested for repeatedly R-wording a child. Yeah. And then Kyle Clinsley says, chat, why does this keep happening? I've explained my thoughts on why this happens to conservatives so much more than it does to liberals. It doesn't take that much thought to figure it out. You can go watch my other discussions on it if you want. That's a pretty scary photo. Yeah. Known Epstein associate weighs child for future sale. That's what I would quote. That's what I would here. My caption for this photo. There you go. That's how I would caption that. Okay. Okay, let's try and find something good here. Arnold, please don't hang out with RFK, please. I kind of like Arnold, to be honest. I mean, I know that he has some sketchy stuff in his past or whatever. But I think that, in general, as a media personality or whatever, I think he's kind of fun. But actually, now that I think about it, I think there may have been some actually allegations against him. So maybe I take that back. What's this one? This looks like comedy.
Oh boy.
Okay. Comedy is supposed to be funny. Let's find out.
What's this? I'm in the middle of a joke at your expense. I don't want to see it. Sit the fuck down. What are you doing? All right, what do you do? What do you do that in the middle of a joke, you're like, I'll get up and I'll show a picture of my kid sleeping? What kind of self-involved job do you have that gives you the fucking balls? What do you do? Retired. What did you do? I'll put it in a different tense. Is this the wife? What does he do? And I'm a girl and you're a girl. Vagina. Now we're bonded. No,
That's
you
how it
came in
works.
late, and now you disrupted the show, and now I need to know, and now I'm gonna eat you. What did you? You were an engineer, a mechanical engineer. Normally, dorks don't have that kind of confidence. When we say mechanical, we talking about pencils? Is it family money? Is that where he gets the confidence? Is that why he's wearing a navy blazer? He's like, she's gonna wanna hear what I have to say. Never mind the prepared material. You're both mechanical engineers? What do you do? Retired from? What's with the retired?
Sorry, this is not, I'm not feeling it. Sorry, lady. Whoa. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. This is Hassan, David A. Pac-Man, Destiny. I don't know who this is. But this is a wild photo, dude. My God. Like, David A. Pac-Man he's held water for the Palestinian genocide. Destiny is just an outright supporter of the Israeli regime and also a sex criminal. I don't know who this lady is, so I'm gonna hope that she doesn't have any bad things that happened to her, or that she's done. Okay. Okay, guys, I just need to find something. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Oh, it's this one.
Brianna Joy Gray, she is smarter than ContraPoints. She knows a lot more than Natalie does.
Definitely.
So Contra would agree with Brianna because she was simply out rhetoric. She just could, like, there were points she had to agree because there was no way for her to disagree and back up her disagreements. But it was reflective of how people will be so confidently nasty and confidently wrong on Twitter. And then when you hear them speak in a setting like that, they constantly are backpedaling or like capitulating because they actually.
I mean, that's true. People do that all the time. Okay, come on now. Oh my gosh. That's a lot of fruit, man. That's too much fruit. My thoughts, my first thought, if you want to know, I'm being honest, is, dear God, that's going to be a mess to clean up. I'm going to have to scrub all of those things. There's going to be so much juice all over. Yeah, that's my first thought. Little fluff, big love for Israel. Yeah, that's abhorrent given the New York Times article that came out before. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. Okay, we're gonna call it with this one because I gotta get out of here. We're gonna look at this lady's amazing new tattoo, and we'll analyze it real quick. So she says, "Love my new tattoo. My talented husband gave me. These colors don't run, baby. Just my way of showing my support for our president and owning the libs at the same time. I didn't choose the mega life. The mega life chose me." Okay. Dolce Biatch says, Yes, 3 face palms. Do these people have actual brains in their heads, or is it just filled with air? Sure, she is definitely owning the libs. I'm owned. Let's see. What can I say here? We'll end it with a Clay statement, a technically Clay statement. I'll say, you know what would really own me as a liberal? If you decided to what's something that's not too mean. I don't want to be too mean here. You know what would really own me as a liberal? If you decided to now I feel like I'm going to be too mean. Oh, here, how about this? If you decided to tattoo Trump's face over your face so that way your husband could make out with Donald Trump every time you kissed. Every time you smooched. I would feel so owned. Seriously. Do it. There you go, people. That's what it's gonna end it on. Anyway. Okay, people. That's the stream. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. If you're watching the VOD, love you too. And this has been Technically Clay. The stream is technically over. Bye-bye.